can you see what will take over from YouTube? Because it's still very much the kind of place to go, isn't it?
I think, ultimately watching video is still a passive experience.
Yeah.
And I think, what Kevin is doing is fascinating because it uses that medium to create an engagement with users. Game, and interactive entertainment in general, whether it is, on your TV, through a console, on your mobile phone, or on the web, is a much more engaging medium. And it's interesting because all of us on the panel, a few years ago would have been running our different businesses without talking to each other. And now we're essentially competitors because we're competing for ultimately people's time. And people's time is as a function of the quality of the content, first and foremost, the artist and the passion point. But it's also a quality affected by the level of engagement of your players with that passion point. So it's one thing, to care about the movie, but it's another thing to spend hours and hours and hours submitting content. I'm interested in the day where you have mass editing and where people spend even more hours, editing the content. But people want to get engaged in around the things they care about.
We want to be irresistible and irreplaceable. We want to be sure when that dinner table conversation is happening, which brand did you touch this week? That we are remembered, and that if we were to go down again, which we were nearly doing, that people will actually write us a letter and say, please don't die. Because that's the ultimate accolade you can get. And I think that's what you're saying, Sebastian, is that you need to have that level of interaction to generate that level of passion. It's not enough to entertain, it's about engaging and interacting.
It's making the experience converge. So you're all, in a sense, sharing an experience about one of your films or about a TV show or Lego or whatever, but that you don't all have to interact with it in exactly the same place. So you can enjoy the television show for what it is, have a parallel experience if you wish. And we've all shouted at the telly or at the newspaper. Now you've got a forum where you can do that. And I think that's what's exciting, that you let that build up, but don't confuse it and sort of put it all in one box. I think technology now allows us to have all these parallel experiences. But you're right, at the end of the day, that's why I think for creative people, it's incredibly exciting because you're at the center of all that. And if you decide to give up and go home, then the world's a poorer place and none of these things can actually really sort of function.